When we turn 16, we can get jobs, pay taxes, open bank accounts, learn to drive and apply to be in the army. Look, even with certain conditions and approvals, you could get married, but you can't vote in elections. At the moment, the voting age is 18, but it hasn't always been this way. For a long time, the voting age in Australia was 21. But after 2 world wars and a war in Vietnam, where soldiers under 21 were forced to fight, many thought it wasn't right that young Aussies could die for their country, but not vote. So the voting age was lowered to 18 in 1973.
The Liberal government is recognising that 18-year-olds have minds and that they are aware.
Fast forward a few decades and there's a new push to lower the voting age.
We are the generation that will inherit the consequences of the decisions made today. Yeah, for sure.
This is Tabitha. She's 19 and a co-founder of Make It 16, which is a national campaign to lower the voting age to, well, 16.
Young people are inundated with news, with things that are happening with politics and everything like that. And so I think it's not so much a key interest of young people is politics, it's more the issues that have political backgrounds and politics impacts those, such as the climate crisis, the housing crisis, the cost of education. All of those things young people are facing, but they are also political issues.
Neither the federal government nor the coalition is looking to lower the voting age, but it is backed by the Greens and some independents. And Greens Senator Jordan Steele-John, who is the youngest senator in Australia's history, has been a big advocate.
16 and 17-year-olds are passionate and want...
There's about 8 or so countries that have done this so far. What we've seen is a better democracy for everyone, because way more people are taking part in the process. And when you get more people involved in democracy, you get better outcomes for everyone. It would bring almost 1 million new voters into the democratic conversation. I think it would really transform conversations around some of the key areas that get talked about in Parliament House.
Austria, Brazil and Germany are just a few countries with 16 as their voting age. And New Zealand is currently grappling with the idea of lowering the age.
So one of the really key examples of lowering the voting age to 16 and working has been in Scotland. They've had the lowering the voting age for a while now, and you actually see that young people who start voting at 16 are way more engaged when they get to the older years of voting. Because their voting system is non-compulsory, it's seen a huge voter turnout for those over the age of 18 once they start at 16.
While lowering the voting age is being embraced by a growing number of countries around the world, not everyone is on board with it here in Australia.
Because we believe young people have a right to have their say. Because you're brainwashing the kids in school, Sarah. They don't have any idea. They've never held a job. They've never paid taxes. They have no understanding of politics.
Me personally, I have views of and worries about the future of what could happen in the country and stuff like that, but I don't really know much about it though.
I think we're more social media based, and we take our opinions from social media and we don't have any judgments from there, so we just hear, oh this person says this, we're gonna agree with that.
I feel like we don't get taught much about it and that it could change our perspective if we were.
I don't think they're very educated much in school, so maybe they wouldn't be that interested.
Oh, we need way more. We get 2 weeks worth of, oh, here's a bunch of names and then that's it.
We all know that civic education in Australia is, not very good often, and there's a responsibility on the government, the education system, to provide people with that information and that knowledge.
You can't just have the voting age being lowered, you also have to partner that with education and making young people informed. So I think that the mechanisms behind that within the curriculum is a bit of a challenge, but it's definitely an achievable goal.
So will 16-year-olds be able to hit the polls? Well, maybe not for a while.
So what I would say is to all the young people out there who want to have a say on things like electoral matters, and if they are keen on things like lowering the voting age, this is the right time and the right mechanism to have your say on this by going onto the government's website, finding the Standing Committee on Electoral Matters and making a submission into that inquiry.
So while we might not see a change anytime soon, advocates say young people are more politically engaged than ever and should be listened to.
From the cost of living crisis, the housing crisis, all the different crises, it's really, really difficult for young people to move around in the world.
From the age of 16, 17, everyone's pretty mature, you know, they're all up to date with their stuff, and they do have some pretty strong thoughts. So yeah, I think we should be able to vote.
I think it would change the vote significantly because obviously young people have different opinions to that of adults.
16-year-olds should be able to vote because I feel like they should also have a say with what's going on, because if you think about it, when we get older, it will be affecting us